Welcome, YouTube. Today we're going to be watching one that has been requested from the Fat Electrician, the Cheese Bunker. Is this the one where it is talking that we have a bunch of cheese in reserve in America? Like, was it, I think it was to like bail out the dairy farmers or something. Like, that's all I know. We're going to be starting this. Remember to, leave any recommendations down below and consider joining the Discord and watching the stream live. But without further ado, we're going to get into this.
This has almost nothing to do with the US military, but it's so ridiculous I can't not talk about it. Today we're talking about America's strategic cheese reserve. Yeah, if you didn't know, the United States currently has over 500 underground cave warehouses spanning across 35 different states, the largest of which is underneath Springfield, Missouri, where America...
Wait, I just realized he said it's strategic. Okay, so this isn't that it was to bail people out. This is in case we've run out of cheese. Is cheese that crucial to the US economy?
As of August 2022, currently hoards 1.5 billion pounds of cheese. And just for the record, I realize I'm uploading this video very close to April Fool's Day. This is not an April Fool's joke. I am 100% serious. El Dorado is real, and Uncle Sam made it out of cheese. Look, El Dorado.
This is a good movie, underrated movie right here. Okay, if you haven't seen El Dorado, please go and watch it. It's so very, very good.
The city of gold.
And I know what you're thinking. Right now, you're like, wow, that's a cool little factoid. I can't wait to share that with my buddy at the bar one day. But no, this is going to infect your thoughts for the rest of your life. You're never going to see the world through the same lens ever again. I mean, for example, let's just say you're at home watching The Walking Dead. You're going to come to the realization there'd be way more fucking cheese in the apocalypse than that, okay? You're never going to be able to watch Mad Max again without thinking about cheese. You have to come to the terrifying realization that you live in a world where there is a greater than 0% chance that one of these underground cheese caves gets mistaken for a government facility and gets nuked in World War III, and we're gonna have to deal with a radioactive tsunami wave of nacho cheese. And this is real life. So I asked myself one question: how on earth
would that be better or worse than if they hit a military complex? Because if they hit a military complex, we lose soldiers. We lose military equipment. We lose so much tactical advantage. But if they nuke the cheese, we lose cheese. It's very close to my heart. One hand, a lot of people die if they nuke an actual military facility. But on the other hand, we get the forbidden green cheese. I don't know. This is going to be a question that plagues me tonight.
Did America get to this point? Because I know it didn't happen overnight, and what I found was the craziest real-world example of a butterfly effect that I have ever seen. And believe it or not, it all actually ties back in with last week's video of the ice cream ships of World War II. If you missed that, the super abbreviated version, basically the US government banned alcohol during Prohibition in the 1920s. Because of that, all the bars in America turned themselves into ice cream parlors to stay in business. Ice cream stepped up to fill the social void left by alcohol. If so facto, there was like 2 generations of Americans that treated ice cream like it was alcohol, socially speaking. As I'm sure you can imagine, this would drive up dairy consumption. Combine that with the fact that the 30s and 40s is when refrigeration would become readily accessible, meant that for the first time in human history, there was such a demand for dairy products that farmers could exclusively become dairy farmers. Meaning that...
What do you mean? Why the fuck were people in the yesteryears obsessed with ice cream? Are people not obsessed with ice cream today? I feel like they just had life figured out back then. A dedication to the creamy goodness that is a nice soft serve, or maybe a gelato, or maybe just some frozen yogurt. No, that's the way to live. That's how you have a happy life. I don't know what you're talking about. They're not obsessed. They just have it all figured out. Like the boomers try to tell us all the time. We just don't understand. That's a joke, by the way. The boomers don't know jack shit about today.
That this would be the birth of the entire dairy industry. And honestly, it worked out great. Right up until it didn't in 1949. 1949, 4 years after World War II, the American military is downsized, there's not an entire horde of young men eating 10,000 calories a day, and America's not exporting anywhere near as much food to other countries for war relief, meant that there was a decrease in dairy consumption, or a dip in the dairy market. As this became a bigger and bigger problem, the government had to step in because they weren't about to let the entire dairy industry implode, because, I mean, let's face it, that would be utter catastrophe. So the U.S.
Why did you have to bring in the barnyard cow? Why? Why? Also, does anyone think it's weird that the male cows in barnyard also have udders to be milked? Is it actually milk? Or is it some other type of creamy goodness?
USDA stepped in and said, hey, you know what? We're going to buy all the excess milk. Okay, pause. Thought experiment. You're a dairy farmer. You make all of your money by selling milk. And then suddenly, a couple years back, motherfuckers quit drinking milk, aka you made less money. Now the government has come out of left field and said, hey, we're going to buy all of the milk. What do? You make
more milk. You just make a fuck ton of milk. That's what you do. Just milk. You get more cows. You look up how much you have until they're going to stop buying it, and you just make more. This reminds me of a story that I heard about when George Bush was going to try to make America use more dollar coins, like in Europe. And to do that, they made it so that you could easily transfer your money into $1 coins. So you could buy a $1 coin for $1. But they stopped doing that eventually because you could buy it with a credit card. And you know what credit cards do? They give you points. So you literally invented, the US government, literally invented infinite money, where you're like, I will buy $100 for $100 and then get 2% back. Or I'll get free points to redeem to get a plasma screen TV. And people would just do that over and over and over again. So what the government just loves being like, we'll just throw money at the problem without thinking it all the way through. So I hope that this goes better than what George Bush did.
Make more fucking milk. And that's exactly what happened. So just to be clear, there was already too much milk. Now there's definitely gonna be too much milk. So naturally, all the milk starts flowing in. The government has absolutely no idea what to do with it, so they turn it into cheese, that way it doesn't expire. That part makes sense, but now what do you do with all the cheese? They have no clue, so they just throw it underneath a mountain, ignore it, and hope the problem goes away. But it does.
Okay, I get the idea of turning it into cheese. That makes sense. Why don't they just use the cheese? Like, can they not export it, like, slowly? Can they not slowly reintroduce it back into the economy? Like, because obviously they can't just sell all of it in bulk because people don't want that much. But couldn't they be like, yeah, every now and then we're just going to be like, here, have some more cheese. We're selling it. Get your cheese and whatnot. We haven't reached the epiphany yet.
Doesn't go away because every single presidential administration through the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, they all continue to buy up excess milk to prop up the dairy industry, turn it into cheese, and stash it away in these caves. It literally turns into a giant political game of kick the can down the road because nobody wants to be the president that crashes the global economy by not buying enough milk while sitting on top of a mountain of cheese, which, understandable, I don't want to be that guy either. Then, fast forward to 1980, Ronald Reagan, aka the small government guy, gets elected, finds out that the US government is sitting on top of 500...
All right, there's a lot of stuff you could say about Ronald Reagan, some good, some bad. My favorite thing about Ronald Reagan, though, is his sense of humor, because I remember he had an assassination attempt on him, and I'm pretty sure he went to the hospital, and in the operating room before they put him under, I could be getting this wrong with another president, but I'm pretty sure it was Reagan. Before they put him under, he said to the surgeons, I sure hope you all are Republicans. And I'm pretty sure the surgeons said back to him, today we're all Republicans, sir. And then they did the surgery to get the bullet out. And then not too long after, at some press release or something like that, he was given a speech and a balloon popped. And in the middle of the speech, after the balloon popped, he said, missed me, because it sounded like a gunshot. He knew it wasn't a gunshot, but he had very good humor at the fact that he had his life tried to be assassinated, so he made light of it in multiple scenarios. So you got to at least respect that. So that's my non-political political opinion.
Million pounds of cheese and spending $1 million a day to refrigerate and store it, and he looks at this whole issue like a beaver looks at running water. Absolutely fucking not. We can't have it. So his administration goes about figuring out the cheapest way to solve this cheese problem.
All hail the
Obviously,
cheese.
We're gonna throw it all in the ocean. However, having at least the foresight to understand that that would cause political backlash, he wanted to see how the public would receive it, so someone from his administration shows up to a White House press conference with a 5-pound block of moldy cheese and is like, hey, we got 500 million pounds of this shit. How would you guys feel if we threw it in the ocean. It'll be fun.
Okay, but why the ocean? Why not, like, I don't know, burn it? Burning it would be more fun. You can sell tickets to that, right? You can go, hey guys, we're burning all of this cheese. If you want some, buy it before we burn it. And then if you don't want some, you can join in the bonfire, bring some marshmallows. We'll sell you some marshmallows and some Hershey's chocolate and graham crackers. Make an evening out of it, okay? Take your date to there and then fuck her next to the giant burning bonfire of cheese. It'll be a story you can tell your grandkids, something like that. I don't know. The ocean loves cheese. Wait, is that like, I guess it, well, oh, it is biodegradable. It is food. So I guess that makes sense. Marshmallows and cheese, never thought of that before. No, you don't put the marshmallows on the cheese. You just roast the marshmallows over the burning cheese. Ew, would the taste seep into the marshmallow? I've never burnt cheese. Yes, because we don't have problems from burning things. It's just cheese. It's just cheese.
We'll save money on cheese. We're going to find out if blue whales are lactose intolerant. It's going to be a great science experiment.
That's not a blue whale. That's not a blue whale. Isn't that a false whale? Or is that a false dolphin? That's one of the scarier ones because of the teeth. All I know is that's not a blue whale. I think that's from the Antarctic. I could be wrong. How's my day going? It's going good.
The public did not go for it. They kind of felt like, hey, I've paid taxes for the last 40 years. You've turned those taxes into cheese. I would at least like the cheese. So then the Reagan administration took the 55-gallon drums of cheese, cut it up into 5-pound blocks, packaged it, and spent the remainder of his administration funneling 300 million pounds of cheese into impoverished and elderly homes. And this is—
Can the elderly just eat cheese like that? Have you seen Gordon Ramsay make grilled cheese sandwiches? It is the most upsetting way, in the most upsetting way. How do you make a grilled cheese in an upsetting way? Huh? Also, are they gonna give all these old people constipation?
This is where we get the saying government cheese from.
You're gonna end up eating a steady diet of government cheese.
I have never heard this expression before. He's like, this is where we get the expression government cheese. It went right over my head. Thankfully, he included this fat man who looks like he's made of cheese.
And living in a van down by the river.
The US government would then continue to give out government cheese until the 1990s when they seemingly ran out, because as of today, all 1.5 billion pounds of underground secret cheese in America is privately owned by corporations like Kraft and Velveeta. And this is the part where I wanted to end the video on a happy note of the government made a mistake, they fixed a mistake over 50 years, happy ending. Hooray. However, it didn't really make sense because something happened in the 1990s where the government was able to stop buying the excess milk. What happened? And that's when it hit me. It was absolutely the Got Milk ad campaign, the biggest, most—
I was thinking this. When he started talking about it, I was going to say, did the Got Milk program get started by the government first? But then I thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, no, that's too early. So it happened later? So did the Reagan or the administration afterwards eventually be like, no, now we'll make the Got Milk, and then everyone's drinking milk to think that they're going to have strong bones, even though that's not true. I'm pretty sure you can get better potassium or whatnot from I don't know, like bananas. Hey, welcome, Rev. Welcome. Give yourself a shout out.
Most iconic ad campaign of all time. I mean, every cafeteria in every school in America had a bunch of posters of famous athletes with milk mustaches saying, "Got milk, drink your milk." I vividly remember commercials as a child telling me that if I didn't drink enough milk, my arms would literally fall off my body.
Well, Mr. Miller told me he never drinks milk. Look at him.
His arms are gonna fall off. Oh, God, they did.
Oh, that's not good.
Got milk.
Surely this is what inspired an entire generation of Americans to eat and drink more dairy products, right? I mean, yeah, probably, but looking back on it now as an adult, doesn't it seem just a little bit weird that it wasn't a particular company putting on all these ads? Like, if there wasn't one company profiting from selling all this milk, where was all the money coming from? I mean, it almost seems like the government launched a giant psychological operation, ad campaign, just so that they could offload milk so they wouldn't have to keep contributing to their mountain of cheese. Well,
I subscribe to this theory. I believe in this one. because I thought of it before he started talking about it. I just didn't mention it because I didn't think it was fitting the timeline. But now that I know that they stopped buying it, it fits the timeline again. This makes 100% sense. So they, instead of just doing like, oh, hey, instead of us doing tax dollars, let's just make the American people be the one to solve our problems by making them psychologically think that they need to have dairy, even though it actually doesn't provide that much benefit to them compared to other alternatives. Also, I've said it once, but I'll say it again. If you just drink milk, like you're just like, I'm going to drink plain milk, not chocolate milk, not strawberry milk or anything like that, just plain old milk, you're a psychopath. All right? And no, I don't mean like, oh, if you put milk in your cereal, it's fine. Thank you, Uguay. Thank you, Uguay. Is that, wait, Master Uguay? Thank you, Uguay. But I get, like, if you put it in your cereal, or you dunk your cookies into it, and then you drink the remaining milk, that's fine. But if you're just like, I'm thirsty, I want a nice, plain, old glass of regular milk, you're a psychopath. I'm sorry.
I'm going to take this off now because that's legit exactly what happened. In 1995, the U.S. government created a nonprofit organization known as Dairy Management Incorporated, and their entire job was to get the American people to eat and drink more dairy products. Literally a cabal of individuals plotting behind the scenes to get people to eat more cheese. It's the cheesiest conspiracy of all time. And I'm not even kidding. Anything that has ever been sold or marketed that involved way too much cheese on it, this company is behind. Okay, they're the reason that Taco Bell started selling steak quesadillas. They were behind the Got Milk ad campaign. In 2002, when Pizza Hut had the Summer of Cheese event where they put way too much cheese on all their pizzas, this is who was behind it. In 2010, when Domino's almost went out of business, they gave Domino's $12 million to stay in business and then gave them a bunch of cheese so that they could put extra cheese on all of their pizzas, and that was their entire proposition for staying in business. Hey, our pizzas have more cheese on them now, so they're good. It is absolutely insane. So I did it. I found the world's cheesiest conspiracy, but then I found leaked internal documents.
Okay, before he gets to the leaked internal documents, this just sounds like it's not a conspiracy. This just is true. He's already provided evidence of it. I guess the connecting it is the conspiracy, but I mean, it's not really that much of a leap out of conspiracy theories. This seems pretty sane to me. I wouldn't be surprised. The government had a problem and they offloaded it onto the American people. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. And Flame, we'll discuss it after this. Why? Like, isn't this still kicking the can down the road? Doesn't somebody eventually need to be like, okay, fine. We're gonna let the milk industry have a little bit of a turbulent time. Why do we keep propping it up? First they bail out the milk, then they bail out the banks. This was the precedent that led them to bailing out the banks. It's all connected. I connected the dots.
From DMI. And they are the funniest fucking thing I have ever read in my entire life. Let me go ahead and read one for you now. It's a letter from Pizza Hut to DMI regarding a meeting they recently had. July 6, 1999. Dear Greta, we wanted to express our thanks once again for a wonderful meeting last week. We appreciate your team taking the time to share some very valuable information and creativity during our brainstorming session. Everyone is very excited about the presentation you gave regarding DMI's available resources and cheese industry insights. We look forward to working together to develop many cheese ideas we've discussed. We believe this is going to be a valuable partnership for both Pizza Hut and DMI. Let's sell more pizza and more cheese! Exclamation point. Thank you again for coming to Dallas. We look forward to talking to you soon about our partnership opportunities. We will call you next week to discuss the next steps. Sincerely, Derek, Lord of the Cheese, and
Did he say Lord of the Cheese? I'm not reading this. Does that say Lord? That doesn't say Lord of the Cheese. Oh my God, it says Lord of the Cheese. Lord of the Cheese and Lady of the Cheese. Pizza Hut. You don't need to add branding to your, personal documentation to the government. Like, I get it. Branding's important, but here? Really?
Iskrin, Lady of the Cheese. Even they know that this is a fucking joke. Why is this such a joke? Well, because Dairy Management Incorporated, while it is a non-profit, they don't actually have to raise money for themselves like most non-profits do, because they're also a government checkoff program, which means every dairy farmer in America is legally required, whether they want to or not, to send this company money so that they can advertise on their behalf. And their annual budget is like $140 million a year, with their CEO and top level executives all making right around $1 million per year. Okay, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you there is a group of people in America getting paid $1 million to convince Americans that cheese is awesome. Okay, that's like trying to fucking explain to Stevie Wonder what nothing looks like and getting paid $1 million for it. He already fucking knows that, okay? It makes no goddamn sense. Cheese is so fucking good that it is the one thing on earth that if you were allergic to it, we're not going to say you have a cheese allergy. No, you're lactose intolerant. We're not going to say you're allergic because we all know you're going to eat that shit anyways because the consequences are worth it. Am I upset right now? A little bit. Is it because I'm jealous? Uh-huh. It's basically selling ass candles to dogs and getting paid $1 million for it. It is the most ridiculously easy job on the planet, and I'm so mad that it's not mine. Anyways, I guess if you made it this far in the Unhinged TED Talk, in conclusion, the US government banned alcohol in the 1920s. It set forth a ripple effect through time, and now some dude in 2023 has my dream job of making $1 million a year to convince people of some shit they already knew. And the US has 1.5 billion pounds of cheese hidden in an underground cave network. Fucking the more you know, I guess. Thanks for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch at fatelectrician.com. Quack bang. Out. I'm gonna go eat some fucking cheese.
That's so good. What the fuck? What the hell? I want that job too. You just convinced people to eat cheese. Although I say that, but are you guys gonna kill me if I say this? I don't really like cheese. I'm not even lactose intolerant, but I only eat cheese if it's on like Italian or Mexican. That's about it. Like, oh, let's go get some nachos. I know I don't know if that actually is Mexican or anything like that, but it's just cheese with chips. I don't want that. I don't want it. It's like, oh, let's go get some shredded cheese and put it on our fries. Nah, I'm good. I'm sorry. Just don't you make that face at me. Lucius, don't you make that face at me. But a cheeseburger, give me that. No, don't like cheese. Here's my hot take. Here's my hot take. When there is a menu, if you're gonna have cheeseburger on the menu, make an option that is just a burger. Because I am tired of being like, I would like this, no cheese, please. I feel like if you're adding to something, you should specify that you want it added. I shouldn't have to specify to take it off. Like I like, here's a burger. I look at all the burgers, they all have cheese. It's like, can't you just come on. I just don't want any cheese. And then I say no cheese. And then they put the cheese still on it and I'm stuck with the cheeseburger. If you get a burger and you ask for cheese and there's no cheese on it, you can say, hey, can you take this back, heat it up a bit and put the cheese back on it. When they hand me a cheeseburger, I can't say take the cheese off. That's a whole complicated thing. It's on me to do it. That's my hot take. I'm sorry. You are not hot enough for this hot take. This is a bad hot take. Fine. Sorry. Well, YouTube, thank you for watching. If you thought my hot take was bad or if you agree with me, please let me know down in the comments and leave any other recommendations. Consider joining the Discord and consider coming by the stream live. But until next time, y'all have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.